Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Fan Experience Podcast. Thank you for joining us again. We are on episode 25, and welcome to all your newcomers. The Fan Experience Podcast is the podcast for sports fans that puts them under the lights and behind the podium. We want to hear your stories. Everyone has one, and this is the platform to tell it to. As always, the podcast is presented by Playing the Field. Playing the Field is a sports fan community that looks to connect sports fans based on their love of sports for any reason, socially, either platonic or romantic. So go find your MVP at playthefielddating.com. All right, so we told you that we had something. Before we even get to our sponsor, we have to say it. Le'Veon Bell was just released by the New York Jets.
Yeah. We just got the news just broke about a couple minutes ago. And when you think about it, it's not surprising. I mean, Le'Veon Bell, the guy was a Hall of Fame running back when he came to the Jets. Jets signed him to that massive contract. And since Adam Gase has been the coach of this team, he didn't want him on the team. He hasn't found a way to get him incorporated into his offense. And just Bell has just regressed since he's been here. But this move was shocking. Obviously, they couldn't find the trade partner. And so they're not going to pay him the $2.5 million bonus that he was due Thursday. And look, I think the Jets are just trying to sort of clean house there about, regarding to players from the old regime. But this is, Le'Veon, I think, was a leader in that locker room. I think this is going to be quite, sort of devastating some of the players in there. And I just don't know, at this point, Mike, I don't know how they continue with Adam Gase. And this is Adam Gase's MO. In Miami, he alienated players, Kenyon Drake, Jarvis Landry. I mean, look at Ryan Tannehill now. I mean, the guy finds a way to just push people away, and he just doesn't get the best out of his players. He didn't know how to use Le'Veon Bell. He could, for some reason, a guy who's going to the Hall of Fame, you can't find a way to use him, whether it's in the passing game, in the running game, whatever it is. And it's just, when I saw that, again, shocking, but not surprising, the Jets moving on from Le'Veon Bell. And the question you have to ask yourself now is they just released Le'Veon Bell. There's been, today there were rumors about Sam Darnold, them looking to trade him. Is the next step for the Jets to say, you know what, this thing is just a dumpster fire. Let's just let this fire burn. And at the end of the year, we look to move Sam, trade him for a draft pick and then just start over with Trevor Lawrence. So a lot of questions for the Jets, especially after tonight, releasing Le'Veon Bell. And we just see after this plays out. But this is, I'm shocked they couldn't even find the trade partner. But, again, shocked but not surprised.
No, it's unbelievable. But, yeah, exactly. Not surprised. Adam Gase just never liked Bell from the get-go.
No, yeah.
But it's just crazy that it's just going to eat the contract. But it's the Jets. I mean, we can't be surprised of anything that the Jets do.
Yeah, they'll owe him $6 million for the rest of the year. But you're looking back on Le'Veon Bell, man. You got to wonder now with these last year and a half with the Jets and the disaster it's been. Him looking back on that 1 year that he missed out in Pittsburgh, man, was it worth it holding out? I know he got some of his guaranteed money, but that's a year of money that he missed. So. I hope, for Lev Bell's sake, he doesn't regret missing that year, but, we'll see where he ends up. I personally think if he's going to sign anywhere, somebody was saying Chicago, I think the fit for him would be Seattle myself, but they do have Chris Carson out there. So we'll see, but it's going to be an interesting week in the NFL to see where he ends up.
Yeah. I mean, if he ends up in Seattle, then, Seattle already looks like a Super Bowl contender. So, Le'Veon Bell could certainly bring a little bit more life into that offense. He's not kryptonite like the Jets want to say he is. Yeah. The Jets just don't know how to handle him.
But Adam Gase doesn't know how to handle any star players.
No,
couldn't get along with Jamal Adams, right? And what happened? They trade him and they got a massive haul. I get it. Jamal didn't want to be here, but why? Now we're starting to see the problem, and it is him. It's the coaching staff, and they just need to clean house over there. And the question is, will the message get through to the owner? Will the Joe Douglas, the general manager, step up and finally say, look, Adam, we're friends, but business is business, and I got to let you go. And so far, he hasn't been willing to do it, but we'll see now, man. I mean, who's next on that roster they're going to get rid of? It seems like the players are leaving, but Adam Gase is staying. That's not sustainable.
Yeah. He's just got to go. I mean, there's no excuses. The funny thing is that they'll cut somebody and eat their contract of somebody named Le'Veon Bell, but Adam Gase gets his job safe and secure, and it's unbelievable. But let's get on to our sponsor real quick before we bring our guests on. So thanks to all of you viewers out there. We do have a sponsor And tonight's program, the support for the fan experience is brought to you by Manscaped. Manscaped is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels.
Well, Mike, definitely, and especially during quarantine, man, it just grew out, man. It was like a bush down there, and you're trying to hack away, and all of a sudden you're like just cutting yourself up to pieces down there. And then you're like, wait a minute, I need something that'll get me in shape. I need something that'll trim me up and shape me right. And that's what Manscaped is.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't use the buzzer that you use on your head down there. And that's why and that's why Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. The Manscaped engineering team has perfected the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created and just released the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0. Their third generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents.
Mike, and when I tell you this is premium, I mean premium. The battery will last about 90 minutes, so you can take longer to shave. The waterproof technology allows you to groom in the shower as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the coolest features is the LED light that illuminates grooming areas for a closer and more precise trimming. They've also upgraded to a 7,000 RPM motor with their patented quiet stroke technology. And let's not forget about the charging stand. Show your mower off loud and proud because this intelligently designed stand is a convenient charging dock powered by USB.
So, folks, if you're listening to me speak right now, I want you to experience it firsthand for yourself. Let's get that bush to tush clean. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code FANEXPERIENCE at manscaped.com. Let's make your testes their besties.
Absolutely. And here's the Lawnmower 3.0. They comes with things such as ball deodorant,
the carry-on right here,
ball toner, and they also have a nice little newspaper for you to stand over.
Bag right here, over here. So,
yep, the bag as well, and it comes in a very nice box. It says your balls will thank you. So. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code FANEXPERIENCE at manscaped.com. Again, that's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use code FANEXPERIENCE. Your balls will thank you.
And so will we.
All right, let's bring on our next guests. How about a demonstration from one of our Facebook users? Yeah, this is a family show. So
what kind of a question was that? This is a family show, man. This is experience. What's going on with you over there?
All right. So let's bring on our next guests. Our next guests are the founders of the BookIt Sports app, releasing on November 1st. Please welcome Trent, Nick, and David. Guys,
how we doing, boys?
Guys, how you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for coming on.
Pretty good. I tell you what, our podcast was sponsored by Manscaped too. We didn't get the newspaper with our freebies. Man, come on. What's Manscaped doing? They didn't give me the newspaper. Need to throw the trimmings away.
There you go. Well, next time we speak to them, we'll let them know, man.
Yeah,
we'll pass the word.
How are you boys doing tonight?
We're doing good, man. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. Man. Yeah, we appreciate you coming on.
We're happy to be here and excited to talk about BookIt.
Absolutely, and we can't wait to share with our viewers. But before we get into the app, let's start before that. So each of you introduce yourselves. Let us know. Where did it start for you as being sports fans and loving sports and even loving sports betting.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us on. Really excited to be here and tell you guys about the story of BookIt Sports. But yeah, I came up with the idea in May of 2019 when I was a senior or going into my senior year at TCU. The light bulb really came on for me when my friends, my roommates, they had money on the Toronto Raptors to beat the underdog Charlotte Hornets, and the Hornets won on a full court shot at the buzzer. And I got their reaction on video, and it was hilarious. And I just didn't know where I could post it, where it was like socially acceptable, where, the right audience that would appreciate this type of content would be able to see it and consume it. And so my roommate was actually like, I made a separate Twitter and Instagram just to post and follow sports betting content. And that was really the aha moment for me and BookIt Sports. And that was really when the idea was born. And along the way, I found these two co-founders of mine, Dave and Nick, who have played a huge role in what we've been able to accomplish in the past 6 months, it's been a year since I came up with the idea. But just so much has been moving, and November 1st, can't be more excited for it to come. And yeah, I'll hand it off to these guys.
Yeah. My name is David Bolsomi, and I'm a COO here at BookIt. And the way I, got into sports betting is actually to Trent. I went to TCU with Trent. I played football at TCU there, and I just graduated this past December. And one day I was on LinkedIn, and I read this article about sports betting and the new legalization of sports betting. And as soon as I finished reading the article, I thought, in my head, I'm like, oh crap, like the biggest league that will be affected by this is the NCAA, because I just felt like, there was just no barrier of stopping the ease of access that a sports bettor has to a player. So I posted out on LinkedIn. Trent saw my post, liked it. And we just, exchanged messages and met at Starbucks, I think like a couple of days after that. And that's where he pitched to me the idea of BookIt. And I remember thinking, I was like, wow, like this is a great idea. But there's no way there's nothing like this out there first, right? So I go back home, I get on my phone, I download sports betting app, and I'm like Christ, like this kid, like this idea is brilliant. Like we need to capitalize on this. And that's just how we started working ever since then. And that was like around December, January. And here we are in Reno, Nevada with Nick.
Yeah, it was interesting because Trent and myself actually were pitching against each other in a competition in January at the NFL Pro Bowl. And so that's where we got connected through the Game Plan U conference. And Game Plan U is actually how we got connected to you guys as well. And so Trent and I were down there, and, it was interesting because we were going down there to kind of in a last-ditch effort to try to get some funding. Neither of our companies had funding. We had already launched our MVP and gone through a full season, and so we had some funding that we had used up, but we needed more funding. And we were going into the conference and kind of with the understanding that, okay, there's a couple investors there. There's 16 companies. The chance of like actually getting funded is probably kind of low. And so I went, and I think kind of Trent did the same with the mindset of like, hey, let's just see how we can network. And we kind of, pitched off each other back and forth and shared some ideas and stuff like that. And my background really came from the sports handicapper world and selling picks and having the handicapping experts. And I always wanted a mobile app, and I didn't have that. And so when I saw Trent had the mobile app and Trent had the social aspect of it too, because social is so important. You guys know that, being a social app yourself. I was like, there's some synergies here, and it made sense later on down the road once COVID actually hit. I mean, there's a lot that's bad that's happened during COVID-19, but it was actually kind of good for us, and we were able to connect and make Reno happen and everything. And now we're out here and launching here in 18 days. So it's definitely been an exciting journey, kind of connecting with these guys. We come from all different parts of the country, and as does the rest of our team. But it's been really great to be able to connect with everybody. We had our team out here in Reno, and things are really running pretty smoothly right now before launch.
Yeah, I since day one, since the first phone call that I had with Trent, and he told me that idea, I thought it was gold right there. And just seeing all the progress on LinkedIn, on Facebook, everywhere, you guys got a long way in a very short time, since like when we first started talking to each other. And I also took a look at the beta this past weekend as well. And, the concept blew me away in general, but now looking at the app and actually, playing around with it, it's awesome. I cannot wait for it to launch on November 1st. It's really great. And it's, I wish you guys the best of luck on that. So tell us, tell our viewers a little bit about how it works.
Yeah, absolutely. So BookIt Sports is essentially a social media platform specifically for sports betting. So imagine like a hybrid of Twitter and Instagram, but specifically for the community of sports bettors. So when you go to BookIt, you're not going to see politics, you're not going to see COVID, you're not going to see really anything else besides sports betting. And that's really what the main goal is of BookIt Sports, is providing a safe place to talk one thing and one thing only, sports betting. And we're going to have features that really accommodate to the expert sports bettor while also targeting the novice sports bettor and trying to be an educational tool and resource for the community. So on November 1st, users will be able to download the BookIt Sports app on the Google Play Store as well as iOS, and you'll be able to create a profile as well as start essentially creating content and engaging with the industry and the people within the community on the BookIt app. So you'll be able to post photos, videos, text, bet slip, really all types of engaging content to post and share with the feed and really gain some traction and some followers. And then you can track your bets and you can keep track of your bet history and also get alerts on your active bets that are currently in place. And once November 1st comes out, we just get that initial MVP product out there. Immediately, we're going to start ramping up those new features that we have in store, parlays, teasers, a lot of new socially engaging things that we see excelling in this industry. So it's going to be really cool just seeing how everything unfolds, starting with really the bare bones of what BookIt Sports is going to be on November 1st, and then just growing upon that. So really excited for it.
Guys, this is a tremendous story. When I was reading about this and I was reading your website and I was trying to actually download the app, I didn't know it was out November 1st. I thought this is incredible because I'm like a novice guy. Like I go to my local barber and place a bet at like a parlay or something like that. Like I have no idea what's going on there. For the novice gamblers, let's say such as myself, will they be able to download the app? Will they be able to like talk to like handicappers like as yourself, Nick? How is it? I guess how is it for the novice gambler like myself who's trying to get to gambling and win some money and learn from gambling?
Yeah, exactly. And that's honestly the point behind BookIt. Like Trent mentioned, it's not just for the expert sports bettor, the person that's been doing it for the past 10, 15, 20 years. The person that doesn't know anything about sports betting or that's, casually sports betting, only sports bet in a social setting will still be able to download the app, follow their friends, their peers, their friends that bet on sports and engage with the sports betting community and track their action and have an engaging platform, right? An engaging social platform to talk about their bets, to ask questions and get questions answered. That's the beauty behind social media platforms, right? So think about Twitter, think about Instagram, all those platforms that you go to and you find out about, various topics. BookIt Sports is there for sports and sports betting. And that's one of the things that, we emphasize on is the education portion of it that will come from the handicappers, but also come from the community that is built on BookIt Sports.
That's incredible. And by the way, I got like 10 or 20 friends who are watching this tonight because they're like big time gamblers. So they're really into it. Yeah, I hit up everybody I knew. I said, you guys got to watch tonight because these guys got something big coming up. Let me ask you, now, Dave, were you into gambling before? Because you played football. Obviously, when you play ball, you can't gamble. So were you somebody, right? So was that something that like sort of when you saw it, you're like, wow, this is new and different. I mean, had you ever gambled before? Did you take part of it? Were you a novice?
No, thanks for the question. That's a very good question because no, I've never ever placed a bet
NCAA violation
until I came to Reno. And actually, I placed my first bet last week, and it was a parlay. And Nick actually took me to the book. Absolutely not. Right. So I never partake in gambling. I never bet. Just never did it. And that's what resonated with me about Trent's idea because immediately when it came out of his mouth, I was like, okay, the first thing that jumped in my mind was like the centralization aspect of the application, right? So you have the social component where you can follow your peers, you can follow handicappers and converse with them. You have the handicappers that you can talk, that you can see and engage with that sports betting content. You have the game lines page where you can post about the game lines, but also track your action. And I was like, well, that's a very interesting concept. And it was like, it's centralization. It's bringing all those pieces instead of having you go to ESPN, go to the Action Network, go back to a Twitter, and it's all on one place. So that's what attracted me. And I'm a sports fan, obviously, play football at TCU, but I've just been, I've loved. Oh, let me rephrase this. So when I got to Reno, I actually did not like baseball. Like I never understood it. It was just never entertaining to me. And obviously, these two guys are huge baseball fans. And actually, I became a Chapman fan when I moved into this house because it was just, they would interact around baseball. And also, because I placed bets on the MLB, on the Yankees, it made me actually like the sport. So again, this is why sports betting matters.
Wow, go ahead, Trent. You go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that he bought a Chapman jersey, and
Actually,
then in the last game he gives up a home run to lose the series.
I was hurt. I was actually, and that's when it hit me that, oh my gosh, like I actually like baseball, because I was hurt that he lost the game.
But that's the beauty of the beauty of gambling, right? Like when you watch a game, when you have when you're betting, like the excitement, the adrenaline, and then like you're thinking, all right, man, I'm gonna cover, and then Chapman gives up a home run like that, and and then you throw a tantrum, and then you're like a conniption, and it's crazy. But Trent, I wanted to follow up with you because in one of the podcasts that you said you're looking to disrupt the industry in the next 6 months to a year, 5 years as you guys are growing. So what is it about the industry that needs sort of the disruption, the shakeup? Like, tell us a little bit about that, because I'm curious to the disruption aspect of BookIt.
Yeah, I mean, the industry is just such an archaic and outdated industry that is one of the fastest growing industries in the world right now, especially, or in the country at least, with the legalization here in the U.S. Yeah. But it's just such an outdated, we're seeing these novice bettors, and you find out why they don't bet on sports, and it's because it's intimidating. And it takes a lot just to learn and understand the jargon. And there's no real simple, there's no like simplistic way of consuming these gambling data and key points that you need to understand in order to understand what you're doing when placing a bet. And like, for example, if you have never placed a bet before and you walk into the sports book and like you have no idea what you're going to do, and like the teller is not going to be like a nice guy to direct you, like which side to take. You're supposed to read him the ID number, like. How many people know that, So I see a huge opportunity in really providing the educational tools and resources and content in order to, target that huge ocean of people who don't bet on sports, but who are on the fence, because it's legal here now. And so you are seeing a wider audience get more involved. And I think that's all surrounded around content and the fact that there's no platform that's just hosting all this engaging content. Like, think about the thing with sports betting is like the type of content, it doesn't sit well for long periods of time on somebody's Instagram profile, right? Like if you make a couple Instagram videos a week on your Instagram, and then all of a sudden you've got the Bills Titans game from 4 weeks ago on your grid, and like, who really cares about that post, right? Like that's not the stuff that you want on your Instagram or Twitter profile. But like BookIt, it's literally like you can kind of have like an alter ego, like this is where you take out like your passion for betting instead of having your grandma see it on Instagram, like really just providing a safe place and providing educational tools and resources, and just an inviting interface that allows people of all ages as well as skill levels to understand what they're looking at.
Got it. Yeah. Mike.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I love the most about it, like with what Dave said, like you just go into a whole bunch of different places just to get your information, and it's like you said, it's archaic. It's just not the way, and this is going to be a much better way. Talk to us about a little further down the line. Obviously, you're going more on the educational right now. Do you ever see it becoming more of an app where you can also place a bet down the line? I know it's not going to be right now, but down the line, as it legalizes everywhere, is that one of the plans?
So the industry is, as we know, rapidly changing every day. We see a new partnership in the industry. We see a new state legalizing it, right? And so with this just rapid change in this industry, we want to put ourselves in the best position to adapt to that change. And so we don't see any reason to really handcuff ourselves into a partnership with a singular book at this given time, considering that no one really even knows the true potential of what BookIt could be. And so I think, remaining neutral at this time and just seeing how the landscape unfolds over the next 2-3 years. But absolutely, I do see you can't have a betting app that you expect people to respect and use long term if there's not some sort of linking to their actual bets to it. I just think that's really like the real sustainable way of thinking long term. And so as technology advances, as new partnerships emerge in this industry, it'll be really interesting to see what this industry looks like 3 years from now, because it's only been legal 2 years, and look what it's already happened. Like it's crazy what we're seeing. We're seeing all these professional teams getting sports books in their arenas, and no one even has any idea what the future looks like. But I do think that long term, that is the goal.
Yeah, it's unbelievable how fast everything is changing.
Oh, for real.
Crazy. The Giants just signed on with who? DraftKings or FanDuel? And it's crazy. And it was like frowned upon 2 years ago.
Yep.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's interesting because, as Corona has kind of affected a lot of these leagues from not having fans in the stands, they're now trying to have to find new ways to get to their fan base. And a lot of that is through, sports betting, because all these fans are watching these games at home. And also you're having a lot more attention put on sports right now, especially this fall when things are getting reorganized and rearranged, and you're having games that you wouldn't normally have at these times. And so it's been a great time for when people have missed sports for so long that they all come back. Now leagues are kind of realizing, as more states get legalized, like, oh, wait, we need to just take this opportunity and put our differences aside on sports betting and actually partner with these leagues and do partnerships with these teams and put these books and these lounges in these stadiums for when fans do come back. Like, that's something that we're going to see, and it's only going to grow further from there as we move along and as fans are allowed back into stands. But for right now, when people are at home, especially sitting on the couch, you always have your phone in your hand anyways, your laptop, whether you're tracking fantasy or whether you're doing sports betting. Why not have that app there that basically you can just go to and not have to switch back and forth while you're watching the game? Still watch the game, but also have your phone in your hand with the app where you can be talking about the game. You can see the lines, eventually, placing bets on the app or not, whether depending on the direction that we go with that, you have that capability to do that right there from your phone.
Yeah. And I mean, to piggyback up what my two co-founders just added on, the industry, the business of sports betting in the United States is only going to grow. And we can see that by comparing and contrasting, the in Europe, a mature sports betting market, and how that influenced the way that their fans interact with watching sports, the way that the team advertise with books, the way that the teams advertise with betting on their own team. And we're going to see that in the United States because sports betting is good for sports. Why? Because the reality is whatever, league you like watching, there's games within that league that are not necessarily watched. But if somebody has the opportunity to make money off of it, they're going to place a bet on that game, right? That means that you have more people that watch that game. So then when the league goes back and it's time to restructure those TV deals, it's even better for them. And also, since more people are watching TV, the TV providers can bill whoever is going to pay them for commercials even more. So everybody wins, So sports betting is only good for the business of sports in general.
Now, and what's your target demographic? I mean, BookIt is obviously new. Obviously, you got these old school guys, but what demographics are you guys really looking to target to get involved, to get them to go to BookIt app, to get them to educate them on the business of gambling as a whole?
Yeah, we're really going towards a newer demographic and a younger demographic. I think when we talk social media, that tends to trend younger. And, our app looks similar to an Instagram or a Twitter with a sprinkle of Action Network and ESPN in there. So it's definitely trying to target the new sports bettors because that market's not really being attacked right now. A lot of the existing sports betting apps out there or the existing books are going against for the existing sports bettors that already know what they're doing. But when you go and utilize a lot of those different apps, unless you know what you're doing, you're going to be turned off by it. Some of our competitors, you go to their apps and it's an ugly display and it's confusing. You don't know how to get the information. We're going for a very clean and simple aesthetic that a lot of people cater to, because when you think about the social media apps you use and why do you use them, their convenience sure is one, but a lot of what goes into it is the aesthetic. People always get fussy when Facebook or Instagram changes their layout or doesn't update because it's not something that they're used to. Because when you use an app for the first time, you want to be onboarded and be able to have a simplistic feature. So really the younger demographic and the new demographic is what we're targeting, because we're going to be available in all 50 states. This isn't something that's just going to be available where mobile sports betting exists, because we're not actually taking any action on the app. We're just a sports betting service and a community for people to talk about the games. We're not actually taking any wagers on the app. So we're available in all 50 states, which allows us to target a pretty wider demographic. But at the same time, in the same vein, we do know our older demographic is going to be utilizing this app. And that's the reason that we brought in our verified team of handicappers who are going to be selling their picks on the app. Because when we've talked to industry professionals and people that are sports bettors that might be a little bit older that have been doing this a while, they look at the content that maybe a Barstool is putting out. You saw the deal with Penn National that they put on and the Barstool Sportsbook. Well, their demographic is tied to a very kind of specific person, and the older demographic doesn't really care for Barstool or what they're doing. And so we recognize, hey, let's go younger. Let's go to that demographic, because that's where, you know, the marketing, when you're selling ads and doing different deals with partnerships, that is they want to get the younger demographic. So let's focus there, but let's put an effort and an importance on the older generation too, by having handicappers, you know, sell their picks and get the information. Cause that's a lot of what our older demographic is going to be doing. They're going to come to our app to buy the picks. They're not going to be engaging as much on the community. They're not going to be sitting in the chat rooms. They're not going to be posting selfies or putting out videos of their friends. They're just going there to purely buy the pick. But hey, we got that as well, and we're offering a service to basically legitimize what we're doing. You could buy picks from Trent and I all day. I probably would advise against that, but so by having these guys that have been doing it for a number of years, you know, we have probably 15, 16 cappers that are coming on, and they range from 22 of doing it for 2 years to 75 and doing it for 35 years. So we have a wide range of cappers in different age demographics and also different sport backgrounds. These guys specify in all kinds of different sports. If you want a tennis guy, you go to Bankroll Builders. You know, if you want a football guy, you go to Razor Winds. Like there's a lot of different options that our users are going to have specifically from our cappers. And then it just goes back to that educational and promotion, making sure we're giving our users a lot of really good value. Because I think a lot of these other apps are only concerned with the transaction. If you're a sports book, they're only concerned about taking your money. And if you're one of our competitors, they're looking to do some of the same thing with some of their subscriptions. We're looking to do a little bit more than that by offering a lot of free value through our cappers.
That's incredible. You know, there is one question I want to ask about these cappers. Like you guys, Trent, like I was looking on the Instagram, like it seems like you guys know how to pick these teams, money lines and all that stuff. Like, how do you guys get this information? Like for me, like the regular, like me and Dave, like regular dudes, like how do you guys find this out? Like I want to know what's going on out there. Like, is it experience? Is it just knowing the game?
It's completely guessing and throwing darts at a dartboard. It's probably as best as I could. Like I'm 65% against the spread for NFL, which is pretty solid through the first 5 weeks, and that just has come from like doing NFL in the past and like watching these teams and really watching all the games. I would say like, we honestly don't take much of the advice from our cappers. Like they'll give us their picks and stuff and just like, hey, this is who I'm on tonight. They might have a free play that they'll give us. But really, it comes from watching a lot of sports. Like I'm pretty sure we have every single sports channel and we're watching sports 24/7. We've watched every inning of like the Dodgers games. So just knowing literally everything that's going on, like normally in a normal job, we'd have to go to work and then come home and maybe we catch the game. We got to go out with the girlfriend, whatever. We're literally here in Reno by ourselves. So we are watching sports at home. We're watching sports at work. We're watching sports all the fucking time. So like, we're just going. And so that's what I would say is just from watching so many games and then basically guessing. Trent was like 0-62 in his last parlays, and he just recently got hot. So, like, take Trent's picks with a grain of salt. They're not always on.
Quickly, so Dave, between Trent and Nick, if you had to take a choice about who you're gonna pick, whose advice you're gonna take for putting a parlay down, who are you gonna choose?
Wait, oh yeah, no, whose advice I'm going to take? I'm taking Nick's advice for sure. That is for sure the advice I'm taking. But I will say that within the past 2 weeks, Trent is coming with it. So I don't know. I need to see a little more success from Trent, you know, to I think even out the playing field. But right now, Nick for sure.
All right.
Yeah. So I also was thinking about something when you guys were saying, you know, you don't want to go into the sports betting, you know, actually taking bets. I was thinking about, you know, some of the apps or websites that I've used and I lost a lot of money on, and I never went back to them. So you guys actually have that going for you as well, because they're never gonna say no to coming back to your app because you're not, they're not gonna get mad because it brings back a bad memory. Not that it would be the sports book's fault, but it's something that does exist out there.
And that's why we really, with the cappers, one of the things that we're doing is not offering daily packages. We'll offer it to start, but long term, not offering daily packages, because when we want our cappers and anybody that wants to be a capper on our app, our goal is to have everybody be able to sell their picks long term. That's not something we'll have in the MVP, but is when someone comes on the app as a new sports bettor, we want them to build that trust, that transparency. That transparency and trust are huge with our app, which you don't always get in the sports betting industry. All of our records are posted right there on your profile so you can see. But really, beyond just the transaction, having these cappers and having anybody basically offer advice on how to safely and smart sports betting. We want to be concerned with bankroll management, not just blowing all of our money on parlays and chasing losses and different things like that people don't always encourage. And so the hope is that, especially for these new sports bettors in the younger demographic that don't know sports betting yet, they'll come on, they'll learn, they'll be educated, they'll build this trust and transparency and really feel like they've gotten some value from utilizing the BookIt Sports app, whether they're posting content, interacting with the community, checking the lines, that they get value from the app beyond the transaction. But then once they're comfortable, hey, let's buy picks, but let's not do it just for daily, because we know on our cappers end, if they sell daily picks and they go 0-5, that person's never buying from them again. So let's only do weekly. Might be bad on people right off the bat, but give a capper a week to basically sell you my picks for a week, and then over that week, let's see how you do. Because I think in the sports handicapping world, not everybody understands that when you are handicapping games, you're doing it for the season long. And sure, if you're buying those picks, it's going to be a lot more money buying in for that season, but you're going to see an ROI more often than not. If these guys are good at what they do at the end of the season, they might go cold for a month. They might go 0-12, but at the end of the season, you're going to see an ROI. And it's really just educating people, hey, buy in from the long term, because it's going to be more beneficial to you in the end than buying a week or a daily pick.
Yeah. So you said that, people are going to be handicappers, just not on the MVP. So say, I sign up for the app, which I'm going to.
Me too.
November 1st, I'm having it. But yeah, you could pick your games, whether it's by money line, by the spread, by the over/under. So say, I go 75%, 80% for the rest of the NFL season, right? What would be the threshold for somebody to apply to be a handicapper?
Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of that process that we're going to kind of iron out after we see how the MVP goes with our verified cappers, these guys that have been doing it for a while. See how the process goes, see how the public takes that, and then we'll set basically terms and conditions for to apply to be a handicapper. And typically it's 54% or better in a certain sport. So you might be only capping one sport. You might only be doing soccer. You might only be doing baseball. We're going to have MLB, NFL, NBA, NHL, and then college football and college basketball to start. So those are the 6 that we're starting off with. Obviously going to expand upon that later down the road, but there'll be an application process to become a capper, because really we want to give everybody the possibility. If you're some Joe Schmo that is just very good at baseball and you're just a real estate agent on the side, or you work at Taco Bell, but you're really good at picking basketball games, you should have that opportunity to become a capper. And if you're good, we're going to reward that, because it's going to be good for them. It's going to be good for us, and it's going to be good for our users. There's really not a losing situation here. If you can pick those games, BookIt's making money, the handicapper's making money, and then if the people are buying those picks and you're winning, the users are making money. So really it's a win-win for everybody. And typically it's that 54% threshold, because anybody can go 50%. Typically you're going to fall somewhere. If you know kind of what you're doing, you're going to fall in that 50% threshold. And then that 51, 52 marker is going to be the margin of error. And so setting it at 54% or higher might even be a little bit higher than that. It will be kind of the minimum, and it'll be over the course of a season. It's not I'm hot for 3 weeks, I'm 70%, let me throw my picks. It's what did you do betting over the course of 100 games? Did you go 56, 57? Okay. Or did you go like 45? Like, are you good or were you just on a heater? Because everybody gets on a heater and then starts tweeting about their picks. Oh, I'm hot. Buy my picks now. Look at me. I'm the greatest capper of all time, CEO of handicapping. And then they will be going 3 losing straight month and you won't hear a dime from them at all. They'll be ice cold. And so it's like, we got to make sure we're being smart about that.
Yeah. I love the fact that the records are shown, like every game that you pick, and it tallies up your record. So you can't even lie about, what your picks are, like, I went 12-2 in NFL this week, but your profile says that you went 6 and 8. Yeah. So it's, I love that feature. I love the way the app looks. It's, it's nice and it's sleek, with the black and the light orange there. The colors are amazing. I know right now you guys got it streamlined for money line, spread, and over under. A lot of people nowadays, especially with the rise of fantasy sports and fantasy getting huge, there's a lot of picks as far as like yardage and receptions and stuff like that. Are you gonna down the line have another subset that people can choose?
Yeah, so we actually have a partnership with a data provider called Sports Data IO. They're a very respected partner in this industry, and they're where we're getting our data feeds from, our live betting data. So that's where we get the over under the spreads, the money lines, the live scores as well, including player props and game props. So we will be having those immediately after the MVP is released. Just getting our bare bones off the ground with just the 3 main types of bets in the over-under spread money line. But we already have the data for those player props, for those game props, for those future bets as well, that we will be integrating and designing into the app just shortly after we launch on the 1st.
Yeah, so if I pick the coin toss right, do I get to be a capper?
Yeah. If you get the coin toss, you're gonna be right there locked in. And esports too. Esports. I mean, we talk about fantasy a little bit, but like esports is going to be something that we try to capitalize on down the line in our roadmap as well, because the sports betting and the esports communities combining is going to be huge, and we're looking at being right in the middle of that, which is going to be very massive.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's incredible. Dave, you in the podcast, you spoke that you want to name a stadium. You want to put BookIt on a stadium. What stadium are you most interested in putting BookIt on? Is it the one in Vegas? That one out there? Is it probably one in New York? Because Lord knows we need something new out here. So,
that's a very good question. All I'm gonna say about that is, the stadium that gets our name will be a very, very great stadium.
Final one for me, guys. I was gonna follow up with it. There's a lot of stigma around gambling. People say, oh, it's gambling. It's made seem like it's bad. It's underground. Like I said, like I go to my barber or whatever. Like, how do you fight against that? Like, how do you fight against people who say, oh, well, these guys are just gonna hook these kids into gambling or whatever? Like, how do you beat back that sort of message or that sort of stigma that people put on gambling?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good question. I think putting a big stress on just responsible gambling. We're not seeing a lot of that right now. We're seeing just a lot of degenerate, misbehavior, and a lot of people we're seeing people on Twitter. Like, there's a scandal that happened last week where a guy was called out because he was basically taking bets from people, and he offered a line like, it was the Milwaukee Bucks to win the series against the Heat with plus 100, which originally in Vegas they're minus 600. So this was like of course I'm going to bet on they're going to win the series, right? So everybody's Venmoing this guy minimum $2,000 bet, okay? Wow. And so he's getting upwards of close to $250,000 in bets, and then the Bucks actually lose the series, and so he won a ton of money. And then next series, he did the same bet, but for the Nuggets to win against the Lakers. And obviously, the Nuggets just weren't going to win. And so everybody took the Lakers. They all won. And he didn't have any of the capital to pay back any of those people who Venmoed him a minimum of $2,000. And so, this was just very, very, so stupid of those people to actually Venmo some random guy on Twitter for a line on a Lakers game. Very disappointed in those people, but also like just the fact that this scumbag was actually able to pull this off. Like it's just crazy. Like there's really needs to be an emphasis on responsible gambling. And I think that we actually have an opportunity to really like target that and, change the way that we, youngins that are just getting involved in betting, can help eliminate this stigma that's revolved around the industry.
Exactly. And there's, things that we did within the application, to make sure that, we put that responsible aspect of gambling, to the forefront. One of them is transparency, right? So from record. So, actually, who to trust, what record to trust, and why you should trust this record. So we put a high emphasis on transparency from our standpoint, but also what Nick touched upon, things like bankroll management. Who are you going to go learn that from? Where are you going to go and converse about that? There's no platform that's, again, they're conducive, right, to engage, to ingurgitate, and to converse with people about sports betting. And that's why BookIt Sports, that's the need that BookIt Sports is looking to fill.
Yeah, and I think it's like a lot of times I go back to the transactional. We have to make revenue. That's required, right, to be in business. And I think sometimes companies put too large of an emphasis on the how we're making money instead of taking care of the users and making sure that we're being smart about what we're doing. Because again, a sports book's only job is to win. Vegas's job is to take your money and hope that you lose, and they're very good at doing that. And so no one, I mean, even our age, there's so many people my age that I know that are in credit card debt that don't know anything about finances, that don't know how to write a check, and no one has ever taught that to them. Because what are all these advertisers and companies trying to do? They're just trying to take your money and they're trying to sell you shit that you probably don't really need. And so putting an emphasis on like, okay, let's be smart about this. Let's be smart about gambling. Can be fun. Like it gets a bad stigma, and there's a lot of bad stories about people losing their livelihood and breakups happening and families falling apart over gambling. Like it's not the greatest industry, but like gambling can be fun if done correctly and done a smart way. And you have a bankroll that you can manage, whether it's, you don't have to be out here placing $100 bets or $1,000 bets like these high rollers are. I place $2 bets. Like I bet like $5 a week, and I have just as much fun as somebody who has $10,000 on the game. Probably more fun because I'm not like having a heart attack every time something goes one way or the other. I'm like, okay, I'm not getting my coffee today. I'm not getting my McDonald's breakfast sandwich if I lose on Monday. And it's just being smart about that and educating the public. Like, hey, we can have fun and win and lose money at the same time.
Yeah, well, guys, let me tell you, just from my perspective, this is a tremendous story. And, just what I took away, because I listened to your podcast today, the fact that you guys are just going for it. You're not settling for like some corporate world. Like you're going for it out there. And not only are you doing something great with BookIt, but like I think you're influencing a lot of young people and people to go for it and push for their dreams and just not be afraid and doing things. So I applaud you for that. I hope this thing blows up big time. I subscribed. I'm just waiting for whenever the date comes to sign up so I can learn a little more, because I lose all the time. But I wish you guys literally, I lose like every week. $25 a week on a 5-team parlay. I never win. But honestly, I wish you guys all the best of luck. I'm going to follow. And for all our viewers, go to BookIt Sports app. Guys, tremendous work, man. Congratulations on your success. We wish you nothing but the best. This is tremendous.
Appreciate you. Absolutely. I ditto on everything there.
Yeah. I just spoke for the both of us, but no, I just love the story. It's great, man. I love the story.
No, and you know what? Also give them a quick shout out to our viewers, where they can find your podcast.
Yes,
I know you have a lot of educational podcasts out there.
Yeah, there's we got 3 podcasts that we have that are on our feed on the BookIt Sports Podcast Network. Fixed Disruption with the 3 of us, that we kind of go over the behind the scenes of what's going on at BookIt HQ, kind of the gambling industry as a whole. The Parlay Cast with Jeff Parles. He's connected with a ton of people in Vegas and really in the gambling community. He's going to be he's definitely a rising star and going to be really good for us. His podcast is, I think he's going to 3-4 days a week now. That's called the Parlay Cast, also on Spotify and iTunes. And then Play It Her Way with Olivia Moody and Haley Hull. Olivia's our director of media and our in-app host. And then Haley Hull, who's a sportsbook manager at the South Point Casino in Las Vegas. Both of them do a great job with Play It Her Way. every Wednesday. And then as far as socials go, at BookIt HQ on Twitter is our Twitter handle, and at BookIt.sports is where we are on Instagram. You can search BookIt Sports on Facebook as well. We're there. But yeah, I mean, it's really exciting just to see the growth of where we're at. And we've added a lot of other podcasts as well that are in our network that are going to be BookIt branded, because the media world is, as you guys know, is where everything's going. So we're trying to acquire more podcasts. Just got another one that's airing, I think, Thursday, Hooping with Hoops with Greg Peterson. And then there's a couple other ones that we're launching on Friday, which is going to be pretty cool. So a lot of good stuff. And then our Sunday show as well, from the 50 on Brews on the Balcony is our football Sunday show that we have. So there's a lot of good stuff. You can find them all on iTunes and Spotify though.
Got it. One last thing.
Awesome.
Is there any way any one of you pick the Jets to win any game this year?
No, I don't think. It's funny because we were talking about the spread on November 1st. They're taking on the Chiefs, and we're like, wow, is that spread going to be like 25.5 in favor of the Chiefs? Are we going to see like the largest spread in history with the Chiefs just basically doing an air raid offense on the Jets the entire game? Like they might have to bring in their backup quarterback by the end of the game for the Chiefs because they're going to be up like 60-0 in that game.
Oh, that's the more.
Oh my God, yeah, it's brutal. I mean, the Jets are gonna be in for a brutal year. So give us your picks. Who's going to the World Series? Who's winning it?
I'll let Trent go.
I mean, like I've faded the Rays the last 3 games, and they've won the last 3 games. So I mean, I keep doubting the Rays, and they keep proving that they're red hot right now. I hate the Astros. I really think the Rays it might be their year. I think 2020 is just destined for a random team to come out and win this thing. So it's fitting, clearly not what the Dodgers looking like. I think when we got on this podcast, they were down by 6. So
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind a Rays Braves World Series. It's going to be kind of interesting to see how it all shakes out. But I am rooting for the Rays as well as the Braves because screw the Astros, screw the cheaters, and the Dodgers. How can you root for the big market team? I'm from St. Louis. So I'm not rooting for anything Los Angeles.
I'm a Yankees fan, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a Mets fan, so I don't even belong in a playoff conversation. So
yeah. I mean, I'm a Cardinals guy through and through, so I've had my fair share of success.
Yeah, well, one of them was against us.
Yep, sure it is. Carlos, you still have nightmares about Adam Wainwright and Carlos Beltran?
Yeah, I all the time, all the time, especially after that Endy Chavez robbed home run. Like he was supposed to be destined to win. I cried
when Endy Chavez robbed that home run because I thought we were going to lose that game.
I can't believe it. All right, well, thank you very much, guys.
Thanks a lot, man.
We appreciate the time and. November 1st, everyone go bookitsports.app. Go and download the app when it comes out November 1st. You're going to love it. And thanks again, guys, for coming on. And we'll be talking much more again later as well.
Yeah. If you're ever in New York, drinks on us. Love to invite you out, hang out, have
Absolutely.
a good time. Yeah.
Appreciate it, boys.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good one.
You too.
Awesome. Mike, that's
one. Awesome.
I mean, what more can you ask for, man? That is a great story, dude. That thing is gonna blow up. I mean, it is. Everybody that I know gambles. I have no lie, I got people when do I sign up to the app? It's crazy.
November 1st.
November 1st. Yeah.
So everybody,
I gotta type it in. November 1st.
Everybody, that segment was brought to you by Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com for the precision tool for your family jewels. 20% off and free shipping with promo code FANEXPERIENCE. Manscaped.com, promo code FANEXPERIENCE for 20% off and free shipping.
All right.
Well, thank you again to the BookIt Sports guys. Wish them the best of luck, but you know what?
We forgot to ask them to see if we can get Olivia on, but we'll follow some other time.
Yeah. So the Bills are looking like they're going to get their first loss.
Yeah. Well, listen, it's a Tuesday night game.
Yeah, I mean Tuesday
you
night football, but
that.
So it's the MLB check in. So the Braves are up 1-0 on the Dodgers, and it's 8-3 Braves in the top of the ninth right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's looking like the Braves are going to go up 2-0. Astros are in the third. They're up 1-0 in this game, but they're down in the series 2-0. So I mean, like we just said, a little while ago, it's looking like Rays Braves possibly could be that World Series matchup. It's going to be an interesting. Everyone picked the Dodgers and the Yankees to go. Well, the Yankees are already out, and the Dodgers aren't looking so good in the first two games. But we'll see how that one plays out. And we did not mention at the top of the show because of that huge Le'Veon Bell news.
Sorry, yeah.
The Tennessee Titans just went up 42-16. But the Los Angeles Lakers are the NBA champions for 2020. And
I did say they were going to win it in 6. So, Larry, if you're watching out there, I told you.
You did say 6. I said it was going to go at least 6. I thought the Heat would put up a little bit more of a fight. I mean, they won 2 games. So, I mean, that's something. But I just want to mention that, I mean, we're playing Tuesday Night Football. Let's just remind everybody of that because of a lot of COVID going through mostly the Titans locker room, which is, postponed 1 game and now, rescheduled this game to a Tuesday. The NBA played from July 30th, July 31st up until this past Sunday and had 0 positive COVID tests.
0.
3 months of playing, and they had 0 players, staff, anybody test positive for COVID. And it's unreal how well that bubble worked. Yeah. And, we have all these other leagues they can't get out of their own way. And I mean, when you have the Titans testing positive and then they sit there and go to a high school field so they could still practice when half their team has tested positive, it just, there's just no rhyme or reason to why they did that. The NFL needs to get a handle on that quickly, but they obviously they put out a memo that said people are going to start losing draft picks and have some more consequences. You have to fine them a hefty fine. Yeah, that's what you're going to have to do. I mean, you have to really put it out there. And
I mean, I've been saying it for a couple of weeks, man. They got to drop the hammer. But I wanted to go back to the NBA Finals for a minute and just quickly talk on LeBron James.
Yeah,
I mean, this guy just keeps getting better and better every year. He's been to 10 NBA finals? He's been to been to 10 NBA finals. He's won 4 of them, lost 6. 3 different teams. The guy's definitely the greatest player in this era. And it's just incredible, his longevity. I mean, what he does to keep himself in shape, what he does, to carry a team, to lift an organization is just, I mean, it's out of this world. It's something that I don't think we'll ever see again in the history of pro basketball, man. I don't know if there's ever going to be a player again who can literally walk into a franchise and that franchise becomes a championship franchise overnight, right? I mean, it's just, now he's had a couple of blemishes, right? He'd had, throughout his career, he's had obviously the Warriors run of the 5 years of the Warrior run. He had that disastrous, finals MVP loss to Dallas when they were up 2-1 and he just sort of collapsed there. He ran into obviously Duncan Spurs. But right now, you got to say this guy is, in my book, and look, I don't know, I'm whatever. I'm not a basketball guy. But for me, it's Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James. But you have to just tip your hat to what he's done throughout his career, and especially over the last decade. It's just been absolutely incredible, man. I mean, the guy came in last year, pretty much said, you know what, I can't win with these guys. You got to get me Anthony Davis. You got to get Frank Vogel as a coach. And then we can win. And listen, say what you want, bubble, COVID, whatever. They were the one team that was focused. They were the one team that had the right player to lead them, and they won the NBA title. So kudos to the Lakers and LeBron James. Incredible. Yeah, absolutely. It's fantastic career, and things he does off the court as well are great as well. But my order is the same: Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, and that's going to be, that'll be an argument till the end of time. Yeah, there's always going to be people that have a different order, but that's just the way it is, and that's what makes sports fun, right? What it is, man. That's what makes it great. And that's why podcasts such as this exist. Yeah, for people to come out on and tell their opinions. I mean, let's
should we touch on a little bit of Week 5's action?
Yeah, we can get into Week 5 a little bit. Once again,
the Jets lost again.
Yeah, the Jets lost again. Dak Prescott's injury was horrific.
Yeah,
I saw that. I mean, that's terrible. And that's why
people sit out.
Right. And that's why they hold out for the big money contract. And I think the mistake, if I'm Dak, right, and I'm sitting in a hospital at the bed tonight after surgery, I got to question my agent. I mean, there was a deal on the table that I thought was fair for him. What was it? $35 million for like 4 years. It was like $140 million contract, 4 years or something like that. Like, I don't know why he didn't take that deal. Yeah, they were waiting. They're not going to get Patrick Mahomes money. You know, he's not at that level yet. But I think that's a fair contract. And if I'm Dak tonight, I say to myself, I got to reassess my agent here. I mean,
Dak's probably got enough.
Yeah, he's on painkillers right now.
Let's not.
But that was.
Let's not add insult to injury. With Dak.
Hopefully he gets back on his feet and gets better. But this kid, Justin Herbert, man, he's just throwing rockets.
He's the best looking 0-3 quarterback I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's throwing rockets all over the field, 70-yard bombs. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, the guy's amazing, and he's in his fourth game.
I mean, that pass to Mike Williams at the end of that game,
unbelievable catch.
It was a great catch, but he threw it in between two Saints too.
Yeah,
I mean, let's not discount that. Like, he threaded the needle perfectly, and obviously him and Mike Williams are on the same page. But that he was impressive. I mean, 4 touchdowns in the dome.
Right.
I mean, that's not an easy place to play. Granted, there's no fans, but still, Tom Brady couldn't even do that in Week 1.
Yeah.
What did Brady get? What, 1 touchdown pass in Week 1? Yeah. And this kid's throwing 4.
I mean, it's incredible. The kid's the real deal. I mean, you can just see it. He has the moxie. He has the presence in the pocket. I mean, he's the real deal, man. I'm not for nothing. That catch is right up there with Odell's catch. That's how good that catch was.
That was
an incredible catch.
Well, speaking of Odell, our ex-Jet Robbie Anderson is making one-handed catches like they're going out of style. Like, come on! Like, could he have made that look more nonchalant?
I mean,
but no, this guy couldn't get fed the ball when he was in a green uniform. But Teddy Bridgewater, found his best friend, his best weapon over there, and Robbie Anderson's just killing it. And is it Robbie Anderson, or is it the fact that he's not a Jet? I mean,
no, he's with a good coach. That's what it is. Matt Rule is a good coach. I mean, he's a real good coach. And right now, I mean, Carolina's playing well. They are.
Yeah, but there were times that Robbie Anderson would drop passes that he probably should have caught. But this guy's now catching one-armed catches on the sideline and making them look, super easy. So, it's just adding insult to injury.
Right, and Carolina's 3-2.
Us Jets fans, so
Carolina's 3-2 right now. I mean, Bridgewater, they're playing well, man. They're, he's got him going over there right now. Look,
the Panthers have a shot.
The NFC South is tight right now, other than Atlanta, and we'll get to Atlanta as they fired Dan Quinn. They blew up that whole mess. What a disaster that was, just as bad as the Jets. But right now, the Saints, Bucks, and Panthers are 3-2, so that's a toss-up, that division.
Yeah, and McCaffrey's not even back.
And he's not even back, so go to figure. How about the Chiefs losing this?
That was
to the Raiders.
I would say it was a shocker, but I kind of had a sneaky suspicion that it would happen because just the Raiders' history against the Chiefs. Carr in general, has always played the Chiefs hard. And I haven't been impressed with the Chiefs for 3 weeks now. They almost lost to the Chargers and Justin Herbert in his 5-minute notice first start. Then the Patriots, I mean, it was 6-3 at the end of the third quarter. At 30 seconds left in the third quarter, might I add. Okay. But it was a very tight game, and it shouldn't have been that tight. It just, I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover. Maybe they, getting a little. But also there was no preseason, so it could be a little bit of that. But the Chiefs just definitely don't look like the high-powered offense that we've been used to for the last 2 years. But I mean, they'll right the ship, and
I think they will. I think a lot of it is there's no fans in the stands. I think part of it is they're going through the motions a little bit. But I think Kansas City is going to be fine. I still think they're the best team in football right now, regardless of the record. They just are, period. I mean, I just don't see any team in the AFC beating them. I mean, who do you see? in the AFC beating them. The Ravens, maybe. The Browns aren't going to keep up with them. I mean, if Lamar Jackson gets a lead, maybe, but who knows? But other than that, I don't see anybody else in the AFC beating them. They're the best team by far.
Yeah, and let's talk about the NFC for a second. You swore up and down the San Francisco 49ers were taking the NFC. It wasn't even a contest. Yeah. I said, no, you got to give the Seahawks a chance because I think the Seahawks could beat the Niners. And Russell Wilson just continues his MVP-like season. Right now, it's between him and Rodgers. Josh Allen has not had a good game tonight, so I think any talks of that are put on hold right now. But Russell Wilson, especially coming back and winning that game Sunday night, and of course Aaron Rodgers, no interceptions, and he's just putting up digits.
It's crazy,
and nobody even realizes it. It's like, oh, okay, all right. He's and Devontae Adams has been out for the past 3 games, and he's still putting up numbers.
I mean, people just take Aaron Rodgers for his greatness for granted.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just that's what he does every year. I mean, he just throws 30 touchdowns every year. I mean, the guy just whatever the numbers are that he puts up, but it's incredible how he plays the game. He plays it so easy, and I think because he's only won one Super Bowl, he's in Green Bay. They have these flame outs, whether it's the NFC Championship against the 49ers or losing in Seattle that one year. I mean, we do not appreciate his greatness. I mean, the guy's incredible. I mean, his accuracy, he's just incredible. And I think, I think it was a mistake for them to draft a kid in the first round. What was his name? The guy they
Jordan Love.
I mean, I think that reinvigorated him. He ain't going nowhere. The way he's playing right now, that guy ain't going nowhere. And it'd be crazy for them to get rid of him. So, but yeah, Green Bay's playing well. They're 4-0. The Rams are looking real good. I mean, they're 4-1. Jared Goff is playing well. And
undefeated against the NFC East. So, I mean, let's take the 4-1 with a grain of salt, but they still look impressive. I mean, a little easier than they should have been, those wins. And speaking of broken legs with that Dak Prescott, Alex Smith made his return.
He did.
He did not have a nice return. I mean, he was getting sacked left and right by the Los Angeles Rams, as we just mentioned. Mm-hmm. But do you think Alex Smith starts this next week?
No, I think they're going back to Kyle Allen. If I'm not, if I got that correctly,
because he was good to come back, and they decided to keep Alex Smith in there. I mean, I would love the story of Alex Smith and a comeback type of deal. But we'll see what happens. But I would like Alex Smith to take the reins over there and see what he can do. Because I think he's got more.
He's got some game left in him. I agree with you. But I also think that, look, man, at this point, I know he wants to play. Why take any chances? I mean, that injury was just horrific, man. I mean, he almost lost his life.
Agreed, but he's back and he wants to play.
And he wants to play. So I don't stop anybody from following their dreams. I go for it. God bless them. I just listen, man. I always worry when these guys get these really, really horrific injuries. I mean, he almost died, for Christ's sake. And he's I'm watching on the red zone, and I'm like, oh man, I'm like, oh, don't bend them that way. You just got to be careful. But good for him. His wife and his kids were there. They were having a great time. I mean, the only regret I wish would have seen if that place had 70,000 people, the ovation would have got. That would have been tremendous. But I was reading today in ESPN that they were saying that he might get comeback player of the year, and rightfully so. I mean, to come back for something like that, give it to him 100%.
Yeah, but he has to play.
Yeah, he's got to play, but
he's got to play.
Listen, man, you come back from that, just give it to him.
So, I mean, that NFC East is a mess. The Giants actually have a chance in winning that NFC East. I mean, at the state of affairs right now.
Yeah,
but the fact of the matter is the Cowboys are leading with a 2-3 record, and now Andy Dalton's taking over for the rest of the season. I don't see the Cowboys winning this. I think if Alex Smith is the quarterback of the Washington football team, that Washington has a serious chance in winning the division.
The Cowboys are going to win. To me, the Cowboys will win the division
with Andy Dalton. You think?
With Andy Dalton, where are our BookIt guys? What do they think? But I think the Cowboys win the division. I think they're just the best out of a bad 4 teams. They're just the better teams. the best team. They got the best wide receivers in the division. They got the best running back in the division. I mean, their defense is, it's not the 86 Bears, but it's a decent defense. So I don't see why they couldn't win that division. McCarthy's just got to get it together over there, man. They should be 3-2 instead of 2-3. But I think the Cowboys are going to win that division. And then finally, I want to get to this. I know the game just ended tonight, but Ryan Tannehill, folks, threw 4 touchdowns tonight. All right. The Jets, I don't think they've scored 4 touchdowns this season. All right. What is that?
I'll have to tally him up, but
tally him up.
I don't think you're that far up.
All right. I don't even know I can't remember the Jets scoring more than 4 touchdowns this season. I don't think Sam Darnold or Flacco have combined have thrown for 4 touchdowns. I mean, if there's any more evidence for the Johnson family or Joe Douglas to see that when players get away from Adam Gase, they become better players, take a look at Ryan Tannehill. What are you guys waiting for? Drop the hammer. Do we have to sit through another 20-point loss? They're going to Miami. Last year, Miami was tanking for Tua. This year, they're just throwing the ball over the field. They're having fun with Ryan Fitzpatrick, and they're a 10 times better team than the Jets.
They're beating the 49ers.
They're beating
San Fran.
And I don't want to hear these.
And not only beating them, annihilating the 49ers
exactly.
in San Fran.
Exactly. So, and it could get ugly on Sunday. And if it gets ugly on Sunday, at some point, man, make the move and just fire the guy. But, I don't know what else to say. I could be blue in the face saying to fire the guy. But if Ryan Tannehill throwing 4 TDs and leading Tennessee to a victory isn't enough, I don't know what else they need to see. I really don't. I don't know. Just doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. There's absolutely no rhyme or reason to go out there and say, Adam, you're 0-4 or 0-5. I'm sorry, you're 0-5. You don't know how to score touchdowns. But what we're going to do to help you is we're going to drop Le'Veon Bell to see if that can improve anything, because it's not your fault, Adam. It's not your fault. It must be Bell's fault. So let's drop him.
I don't know, man. It's a tough football. It's a tough time to be a football fan in New York.
But like I said, my new favorite team, the Los Angeles Chargers and Justin Herbert.
Man, you got me on that bandwagon now, bro. Now I'm old. I'm old. That kid, man, it's like you have to watch him play, though. It's gotten to that point where
I got my baby blue jersey fired on BookIt Sports app.
Yeah.
Because that, it's still, the app comes out on November 1st. Gase is still going to be the coach on November 1st.
No, don't say that, man. Come on. He is.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
But if they lose by 40 to the Chiefs, maybe after that.
Braves are up 8-6, bottom of the ninth, 2 outs against.
Oh, wow. The Dodgers are coming back. It was 8-4 a second ago.
It's 8-6. So.
Oh, okay. Well,
that wraps it up.
Ashes are still up 1-0 in the 4th.
Yep.
All right. So that is it for tonight. The Bills lost. So they took their first loss. The Titans, they're still the only undefeated team. Granted, they played one less game than everyone else, but still a 0 on the loss column. So it is what it is. 42-16 was the final there.
Yep.
To the first ever. Was it the first ever Tuesday Night Football game? Oh no,
yes.
we had one. We had one a few years ago with the Vikings and the snow collapse in the roof, right?
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah. So all right. So it's not the first ever, but first ever for this, scenario. But anyway, good night, everybody. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we'd like to thank our guests, Nick, Trent, and Dave from BookIt Sports. Thanks for coming on tonight, guys. And go to BookIt Sports app when it comes out November 1st.
Yep, BookItSports.app. And November 1st it comes out. Follow them on social. Follow some of their podcasts for some sports betting knowledge. And thank you again, everybody. And we will see you Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, with another 2 wonderful guests.
Peace.
Manscaped.com.
Manscaped.com.
Promo code FANEXPERIENCE for 20%